Here's the thing that I will say about Maye that cements the concerns that Sims still has. And this is one of the problems. It's one of the realities of hanging around somebody a lot. You start to pick up their attitudes. You start to pick up their
don't I know it,
idiosyncrasies. Shut up. It's been, hey, listen, you had 3 months. That's like detox. So you haven't had to deal with me. Anything you were picking up from me should be gone by now. But if we can play some Maye throwing the ball, and this is something that Sims has pointed out, in the pocket, clean pocket, time to set up and throw. He doesn't step forward with his front foot. He's got an open release. It doesn't drive the ball. It's more arm than it needs to be. He could put some, watch his left leg. Well, that one's a little flip, but watch on these throws when he's in the pocket and he has time to set up and throw. The left leg is out. The left leg is not forward. That's his touchdown run. That's his best play of the night. Even the long throw to Javon Baker that was dropped, beautiful or not dropped. Even then, that left foot strays out there. He's not driving. He's not putting the foot where it needs to be, and he's not using his body. He's not using his lower body to generate maximum velocity, and he's still throwing the ball well enough. And, Sims and I were talking about this earlier in the week. Here's the one. Look, the left foot's still out there. He's not putting it forward, and he's not driving the ball. We see Patrick Mahomes throw however he wants, wherever he wants, whenever he wants. But a lot of that's happening when the pocket's broken down and he's running around and you just make it work. When you're in the pocket and you have time, that's when the basic mechanics need to take over. And that's been Sims' big criticism of Maye. It's why Sims had Maye 5th among the top quarterbacks going into, maybe 6th going into the draft. There's a lot of rough around the edges that they need to iron out. And based on last night, the most obvious thing, if a schmuck like me can spot it after being told for about 7 years by Sims, here's the things to look for in quarterback play, but you can see it. And once you notice it, you can't not notice it. That left foot, not where it should be to get the maximum lower body force, acceleration, pop, everything. He can throw the ball a lot better than he is. That's the bottom line.
I think that's a fair criticism. And, it's interesting because on that broadcast last night, NFL Network picked up the Patriots, home broadcast. So they were talking about Drake Maye's footwork and how he has tried to make some different strides. And Brian Hoyer, who is also from Northeast Ohio. So I love to see him thrive and whatnot. He was talking about how there have been adjustments in the footwork and he's made progress, but it's not necessarily all there yet. And that's one of the things that can keep Jacoby Brissett ahead of him, right? Because if you're not seeing the footwork where it needs to be on a consistent basis, right? Play to play, down to down, week to week, like that is something that we would still say, all right, well, the veteran is going to be a better choice right now because we can't necessarily trust that Maye's footwork is going to be right all the time. And you want to make sure that when he's in there, you're not trying to correct that stuff every single day, right? You want that to become more second nature to him. So that probably is going to be one of the aspects and features that either keeps him on the bench or gets him on the field, is whether or not that footwork actually ends up being consistent to where it needs to be. So he's driving the ball consistently.
Anytime an issue like this comes up, I'm reminded of Tim Tebow's arrival in the NFL, where we spent an entire offseason hearing about how he's working on his mechanics. He's tightening up that slow motion catapult release. And those who know how things really work were quick to point out, you can't just erase years of muscle memory when you're in the moment and instinct takes over. No matter how many times he's consciously trying to not take the ball all the way down to the ground as he gets rid of it, which obviously makes it easier for the defensive backs to see it's coming and to go get the ball. The only saving grace is it wasn't even accurate enough most of the time for the defensive back to go get it, but I digress. That's the hard part. They may be trying everything they can to drill into Drake Maye's brain what he needs to do when he's got a clean pocket and how he needs to step more forward. But once you're out there, everything you've ever done to get you to the point that you were the 3rd overall pick in the draft takes over. And at some level, he may be thinking, why do I have to do that? It's worked for me. And at some point, you just have to say, you know what? It works for the guy. Yeah, it could be better, but it also could be worse. And what we saw last night was pretty good. And I would say that most Patriots fans, especially since it kind of feels like it's going to be nobody really expects anything from a season. Let's see what happens. Why not get Maye out there? Why not let him get experience and opportunities and reps? Because he'll be better for it next year. You know, that's I think the thing that hurts the Vikings the most without having J.J. McCarthy this year. He's starting from scratch next year instead of having a body of experience that allows him to be better when his second season rolls around.
What did we talk about with the Colts last year and Anthony Richardson? I mean, they were clear the whole offseason last year with Indianapolis. Oh, we want to get Anthony Richardson on the field because he needs the reps. He needs to play. So that's one thing where, Anthony Richardson was not he was more green, let's call it, right, when he was coming in, but you wanted him to get those reps so that he would be better positioned to take off really in year 2. And so we'll see if those 4 games of experience really help him here in 2024. But yeah, when JJ McCarthy is going to miss the entire season, you don't get that, right? Depending on what Jacoby Brissett does in the first quarter of the season. I mean, Drake Maye could be out there, week 5, week 6, right? I mean, is that completely unrealistic to me? No, it's not. Just, based on what we've seen from Jacoby Brissett over the course of his career and what I think the by and large expectations are of the New England Patriots going into 2024. Although I will say, Mike, it is extraordinarily refreshing to watch a press conference with that Patriots background, and actually hear somebody like not mumble and kind of be okay with answering a question, even if some of it is coach speak and gobbledygook. Like, it's refreshing that's what we've got now with New England. It's different.
They send out all of the Gerard Mayo press conference transcripts like they did with Bill Belichick. And with the Mayo transcripts, as I get them in my email and I open them and I'm scrolling, it's like there's a lot here.
Yeah.
And the answers take up more than one line.
I know.
So yeah. It is very different. It's funny because last night there was a sideline interview of one of the Patriots players, and he was asked about the guy who just left, and he thought the question was about Bill Belichick. So he actually hard pause and praised Bill Belichick, but Gerard Mayo is going to do a good job. It's like, no, we're talking about the guy who just got traded. So out of sight, out of mind in New England.
Okay. You have a chance to win $1 million in the NBC sweepstakes on Yahoo Fantasy. Just download the redesigned Yahoo Fantasy app or go to NBCSports.com/fantasymillion for additional details. What are you waiting for?
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.